Hello everyone and welcome back to Rag Plays Crusader Kings II, Monks and Mystics in the Penitenziagite campaign. Last we left off, we had just finished a long introduction to the various mechanics of the game. There were a couple of things I forgot that I need to briefly touch on now, and I say briefly because I promise gameplay, and I will live up to that promise for this episode. Do not worry. One that I forgot in technology was tolerance, and there's a reason why I forgot it. It is because it is useless for our purposes. The opinion penalties of different cultures and different religions, that means that, let's say, the Sunnis down here, who are a branch of the Muslim faith, will like us a bit better, and cultures will like us slightly better that aren't our own. I guess the cultural side of it is kind of worth it, but not super important, I don't think. What else do we have in here? We have... oh, yes. If I click on my county, there's information in here that we need to sort of parse through that I kind of forgot about. On the province dialogue tab that shows us the information for the province, I forgot a couple of buttons. There's the raise the local liege levy. That's raising the troops just from this province. So if you own more than one province, when you go to war, you want to raise your stuff from this tab, because this will raise everything, whatever you own. So when you go to war, click this and this. Grab your army, select them both by making a box around them, and click this button here, which is merge. Turns them into one unit, so that they fight as one, if that is your desire, and disband when they're not in use, of course. Alright, back to the province tab. Like I said, you can click on any of these and you can build buildings if you had the money. It tells you the breakdown of what the troop composition is for each of these places, how much tax you're getting, the fort level, all this jazz, the garrison size. Garrison size is how many troops that cannot be moved out of the castle exist within the castle. These would be what you'd call as the defenders. If there was an army that came and attacked us, it would have to have more than the number of defenders to be able to siege this. If it does not have as many as the defenders, then it would not be able to siege this castle down. It would just have to stand there and wait for reinforcements. But that number is 769, and our levy, which means the amount of people we can pull from around the province that aren't stationed at the castle, that we can use as an army, is 1086 out of 1287. So potentially 1287 men, because we're training troops. The same is true for the towns, and they have their own buildings that you can invest in if you want to. And the same goes for bishoprics. Now, it'll tell you what the counties are in the de jure kingdom of, and the de jure duchy, whatever they belong to. This is important. This is the indicator for whether there's a hospital in the county. Ours, we don't have a hospital currently, but if we did, we could click this tab here and build a new hospital if we had 100 ducats. That's going to be something we want to invest in fairly early, I would think, just so that we have one, just in case. It'll increase the disease resistance of the province, and will also provide some protection against depopulation. So if there's a plague that rolls through, we might survive because of it. Forts are, if you're expanding as a European out this way, you need to build forts because I think they protect... yeah, they lock down your occupation of empty nomad provinces. So if you're moving out into the steppes, to be able to occupy the steppe, you need to build a fort. You need to have some sort of military establishment there to keep it up, because if you look at the place, if you look at the steppes themselves out here, there are no buildings. It's all just steppe country that belongs to this government. They're free people. They live in tents. They don't have any permanent settlements. So if we go out that way, which we wouldn't be doing, we would have to build forts to station our troops, because that's what we're used to as a culture. Below that are trade posts, and the only people who have to worry about that are our merchant republics down here, Genoa and Venice and Pisa. And they build these things, and they generate income. They're like an extra source of revenue, and you can upgrade them, but we won't ever have to deal with that because we're not a merchant republic. A couple other indicators may appear when you expand this tab, and I think it is useful to have this expanded. Very clear indicator here what type of terrain is in your county. So whenever you're marching through a place, it's good to know what you're going to be fighting in. If you're going to take a battle somewhere, if you're attacking, you don't want to attack into the mountains, for instance. Attacking into the mountains gives the defenders who are in the mountains waiting to receive your attack a defensive bonus. It's bad for you. It'll make your numbers count for far less than they would otherwise. So, on the other hand, if I was in the mountains and I wanted to take a fight and I saw there was an enemy army in Monferrat right now, Monferrat is plains. That gives no bonuses to defenders or attackers, so I would take my army down and smash them in Monferrat. The other thing you want to pay attention on this screen whenever you're attacking or defending is this little indicator. It's easy to miss. It's the river crossing indicator, and it'll tell you if there's a river that flows between provinces. So it says a river flows between this county and Genoa. That means if I attack from Genoa into Monferrat, or vice versa, I will suffer a river crossing penalty, and that will cause all of my troops to fight less effectively. Conversely, if I'm defending behind a river and an enemy army is coming at me from that direction, I will gain a bonus because I am the defender. So back to Monferrat, there's also one flowing between this county and Pavia, and this county and Lombardy. So if I crossed from Piedmont, no river crossing. Saluzzo, no river crossing. But if I crossed from Genoa, Pavia, or Lombardy, I would suffer a river crossing. You want to be careful of those things, and don't trust the visual indicators. Always make double sure by checking the province itself. Don't leave things to chance. Couple other little mini buttons here. Left click to select next region. You can see regions in the game, which I'm not sure why this is part of Europe. I guess they consider all of this Europe, technically. And first is Italy. Next is the Mediterranean, I would assume, the southern Europe, I would think, and then yes, Europe. So this tells you the regions. I don't really know why they decided to include regions in the game. Maybe to give you your campaign sort of a focus. But anyway, back to Montferrat. There'll be another button here if you were a duke or a king that's called Make Crown Focus, and this is good to do for your capital because it buffs the prosperity in the capital and gives you access to certain events. If your whatever province has the crown focus, you could potentially gain prosperity, which will show up here as its own indicator. Look like a little sheaf of wheat or a head of wheat, and the more that goes up, the more likely diseases are to spring up. But it's also beneficial for taxes and things like that, and population for the number of men you can draw from their levy, I think. I want to preface this by briefly saying, guys, if I'm wrong about some things, you have to understand I'm going off the top of my head, and these are the things as I understand them. It's not necessarily that they're 100% correct, it's just the general idea. Like, I remember back in the day, appointing a bishop was like a huge feature of the game, but the game has changed so much that there are just certain things that have become so dated, mechanics that just don't matter anymore, that don't have a use, that don't really see gameplay, like the excommunication thing. If I request excommunications, like on this guy, for instance, there are things that they're leftovers. They're leftovers from a game that no longer exists anymore, that has changed so much that my understanding of them is coming from years past, and that, considering I don't use them, it means I'm not familiar with them anymore. Whether I was to begin with is uncertain. I do my best with what I can. Yeah, that's it. I think we're ready to play now, hilariously enough. I'm going to hit unpause, and away we go. Going at speed 3, and we're just going to let time go by and see what happens. Hopefully something soon. Oh, what was that? Our Marshal Guglielmo has initiated a massive recruitment drive in Monferrat. Good. That should... And what just happened? Alright, we got something going on here. Yeah, as is predicted right on schedule, the Holy Roman Emperor just decided to declare war against France, and I'm assuming it's him who declared on France, attacking King Philip of France in the Holy Roman French de jure war over Zealand. What the hell does all that mean? Well, I'll tell you what that means. The Holy Roman Emperor, because if we look at de jure territory, de jure empires, you will see that this little island here, which is called Zealand, should belong to the Holy Roman Emperor. It is de jure part of the HRE. It is de jure part of the Duchy of Holland. Because it's the part of the Duchy of Holland, it belongs in the Holy Roman Empire, and therefore the Holy Roman Emperor, I'll switch back to realms, has declared a war against France to take that back because he has a claim on it, because it is de jure part of that duchy. And so, the HRE, who... We could participate in this war if we wanted to, and technically the French are hostile to us right now. The HRE has 22,000.08 men, and France has 9.74k troops, so almost double the amount in favor of the HRE. He should win this war relatively easily, unless something else happens that screws him over, unless the AI is so incompetent that I can't even. And I also love the new units that they've given the Germans. My goodness, they look great. Look at all the different unit types. They're awesome. I'm glad they retooled that. It looks much better than it did before. With their great helms and their heater shields and chainmail, it's very, very well done. These were, I think, what they looked like before, and the French still use the old units, but Germans look way better than they used to. And I think those are holy orders or mercenary knights. I'm not sure, but they got the Sugarloaf helm on. Anyway, let's see how this goes. Feel sorry for this kid, King Philip of France. He's a haughty, indolent little boy who is deceitful little shit, and we're just going to keep looking to our own problems. I'm not going to really help the HRE, I don't think. I think they can handle it on their own without me having to bother interjecting myself in a war that I don't have anything to do with. As long as the French don't come over here, I'm fine with it. King Heinrich has created the Duchy of Upper Burgundy, so he's beginning to create titles, and we have new important decisions available. So what did he just create? He created Upper Burgundy with de jure titles. Upper Burgundy is here, I think. Yes, this duchy he just created, so he should give this out to somebody pretty soon. Look at direct vassals, though. These are owned by people who shouldn't own them. But he'll probably give the Duchy of Burgundy, if I had to guess, he'll probably give it to Burgundy here. He'll give it to this guy, or one of these other guys. Maybe Neuchâtel, or Argau, or Bern. We'll see what happens with that, though. Switch back over to the jure things, and we have an important decision available. Since it is May, we could hold a summer fair. I'm not going to do that because we don't have very much money and I want to save up for more important things. How's our little friend looking who we're plotting against? He has taken the intrigue focus. Oh yes! Oh yes! We didn't have to wait long for that. My liege, my work in Saluzzo seems to have come to fruition. By bribing, cajoling, extorting, threatening, and forging documents, I've managed to fabricate a claim on the County of Saluzzo, presently held by Count Monferrat of Saluzzo. I leave it up to you whether to use it or not. And of course, we shall use it. We will lose 33 ducats, that is what we were saving our money for. And we shall lose 50 prestige, but we gain a claim on the County of Saluzzo. That may seem like a slightly evil thing to do, but my character is seeing the development of this child, and while he is conscientious, he is also prideful, and he is also willful, so does not approve of this, and besides, this child is actually our kinsman, House Almerici. He should definitely be under our control, and, how many men do we have? We're ready to go. This kid doesn't have any alliances. Before you declare war, always check pacts. He has a non-aggression pact with the Count of Schweiz, which is Switzerland, which is here. Non-aggression pacts don't matter, it just means that they won't attack each other. It doesn't mean they'll support each other in a war. If they would have supported each other in a war, you would see a different color here. This would be blue, and this would say defensive pact if I was hovering over it. Then you'd have to worry about something. Since it's not that, we don't need to worry about it. We have 1,200 men, and he has 904 men, so we should win this pretty handily, I would think. I'm going to go ahead and declare war. Let's get off to a strong start, hopefully. Alright, we are now at war with them, and I'm going to take this opportunity. I cannot move my Chancellor yet, so we're not going to just yet. Raise the troops, raise the vassals' troops, combine the troops, and begin by putting ourselves in charge of the center, and we would probably want this guy on the flank, I would think, and we're going to move into Saluzzo. You always want to make sure you're looking at the traits of the people. I picked myself for the center because I'm the best marshal and I'm also brave, so I've got good morale defense. Majority of troops are in the center anyway. And our flank leader, he's commanding like 40 men, so it doesn't really matter what he is, but I picked him because he has brave as well, and he also has cruel, so he has morale damage on top of it. Marshal is slightly worse than the other guy, but still. Anyway, we're setting off, and hopefully we get there and trounce him. We are attacking into the mountains, so that could go bad. However, I think we shouldn't have much trouble winning this, just because he doesn't have proper commanders. And it seems like we don't have a commander in the center all of a sudden. That is mighty disconcerting. I don't know why that happened. Maybe somebody died. And we have an event. Our wife, Countess Gaeta, has sent you a gift. This is because we have the hunting focus. It is a small puppy, but the finest pedigree, and destined to grow into a great hunting dog. There's no reason you would ever want to give this back. It's ridiculous. This is an amazing thing to get. It's a permanent... practically permanent modifier on your character that you basically get a hunting dog, and it gives you +1 diplomacy and +1 health. Again, health is super important. We're super old, we could die at any moment, but having more health reduces the chances that we'll die. And it buffs our diplomacy, that's great. And since we are a God-fearing man, it's giving us an option to name our, well, not because of that, but since we are going to name this dog Faithful. Your new puppy has no name yet, my lord. What will you call it? We will call it Faithful. As is traditional in the role play, we're going to see how this friggin' battle goes. Come on, break. Just give up. Alright. So we just won that battle, and we took reasonable losses. I have no idea why there's no character here. What just happened? Why are we leading? No, you don't understand. You don't understand. We're resigning as a commander, that's why. The Holy Roman Emperor, in his infinite wisdom, decided to pull us out of command to go and command his siege that he certainly doesn't need help with up in Zealand. We... that's ridiculous. Self back in charge here and get under the siege. I know you want to promote me to a position of counselor. I decline, sir. Or commander, I should say. I don't want to be your commander, I just want to be a guy. So... now that we are in position, we have begun the siege of his land. He does not have the troop count for any kind of retaliation against us. He can't counter-siege us because our garrison, as you'll remember, 769, and he only has 654 troops. He cannot beat us, and he cannot siege our land. But we can siege his, most certainly, because he has only 63 levy in here, and... yeah, it's going to take a while. He has 832 garrison, though, overall. What we're going to do to move this along a little bit faster, we're going to turn the speed up. And I'm be mindful of France over here, because he could decide to come screw us up just for funsies. Dog is growing quickly and is no longer a little puppy. He runs fast and has a keen nose, and your dog handlers praise his good character. Good dog, we gain 10 prestige. That's nice. Young Alberto has finished his education in the ways of war. It seems that he has learned all the basic skills required, so he hasn't become a very good character. He's worse than us. He is the second rank in the martial education. He is a tough soldier, so he gets a little bit extra martial, -1 learning, plus 0.5 health, and 1 personal combat. It's not bad. Could have been worse. He'll be useful. We might even make him a commander, in fact. I think I am going to make him a commander, in fact. Let's go ahead and switch our minor titles. Hey, you are fired, sir, I'm afraid, and you are hired. Keeping an eye on France. We don't want him moving anywhere. The main French army, I think, sieging a province that's completely inconsequential. My young wife has taken a passion for romantic poetry. She keeps reading any sort of romantic poetry she can get a hold of. Now, here's our options. So, get her more to read. We lose 10 gold. She gains plus 10% fertility. She gains the trait lustful. Countess Gaeta's opinion of us changes by 3 for 12 months. Her interests are encouraged. She likes us better for it. That would be the one I would pick, usually. That is her interest, not mine. Gain 5 piety. We lose 10 fertility. She loses 10 fertility. Her opinion goes down. Her interests are ignored. That one's not a very good one. These books are created by Satan. That seems like something our character would say, but... Oh man, the roleplay. Do we want to do that? I don't want to do that, I'll be honest. We're gonna be a pious character, but it's not this one, damn it. She's lustful now. Come to bed, honey. We need to have some kids. A son was born to Guglielmo, Alamarici, and Geetha, named Enzo. Enzo is a fine name. Let's send him to struggle focus right now and get him on that. And we got another kid. This one is not of our dynasty. This one is a bastard, I think. Why do I care about this child? Oh, a daughter was born to my courtier, who's married to my kinswoman. Alright, well, stewardship focus for women. I always tend for stewardship because it gives fertility bonuses on the woman. You could go for diplomacy, similarly, it's your choice, but those are the two I always go for. Siege is ticking away at a good pace. We should be winning this pretty soon. Yep, there we go. 100% war score, and the casualty reports are in. Let's go ahead and offer peace, force our demands. And there we go, we just expanded, won that first war. Shame we don't have that kid anymore under us, but them's the breaks. Just briefly unpause to fix that. Now, Saluzzo, after a war, it is very, very deplenished of its resources. Its garrison is crap right now, and its levy is completely screwed because we just went in and destroyed the entire thing. We want to, if we can, switch to the council positions. We're going to move the Marshal, who is currently in Monferrat right now. We're going to move him to train troops in Saluzzo instead to get that levy reinforcement rate coming back in and get these men replenished. The longer we stay weak, like, we've doubled our men just by taking that. We have now the potential to have 2,400 men. We can totally take on the Duke of Savoy. Savoy's only got 1.83, but we have to wait until Saluzzo's troops replenish before we can do that. And speaking of which, we need to move. We no longer need a claim in Saluzzo, so we're going to move him to fabricate claims in Piemonte. That's our next goal. In fact, if we wanted to, we can already create... I want you to... This is something that actually slipped my mind. Just looking at this now, I was about to say we could create the Duchy of Susa already, because we have the majority in this place. So if we wanted to, we could say... We could pay 195.2 ducats to create this, but we don't have the money. I don't have the money because we had to pay for that army for the whole war and for the siege, and we lost a lot of money doing that. Before you go to war, you need to kind of keep in mind how much money you have, and how long you can afford to keep it going for, and how long you think it's going to take. Because if you run out of money halfway through the war, that means your soldiers are going without pay. That means their morale is going to be sapped. It means they're more likely to run, they're going to do less damage, they're not going to work as hard for you as they normally would with being paid. So, if you didn't realize that you had lost all your money in a war, and then an enemy's army came along and smashed yours in the face, and you're like, well, why did I lose that? I had way more men than he did. Well, it's because your morale sucked, because you weren't paying your men. So, anyway, right now, we have this new alert that came up here, two new alerts, I should say, other than the title, one title can be created. We have vassal levies are raised too long. This will go away after a while. The mayor is pissed at us because we raised his levies to use for that war. Doesn't like that. That'll tick down slowly as we're at peace. No worries about that. That only matters when you have a lot of powerful vassals, and if you see that come up, that's when they're likely to start to join factions, and they'll begin like trying to go for independence or whatever else, or change feudal obligations and things you don't want to deal with. So we have title loss on succession because we are under agnatic, cognatic, gavelkind. You'll remember that if we die right now, if we die today, our son is going to gain Monferrat, and our grandson, his son, is going to gain Saluzzo. That could be better than it is, but say if we didn't have a grandson and it was just him, if it was just these two, that would mean that that our other son would inherit the county of Saluzzo, and he would break free. He would break independent from Monferrat as soon as we died. So we would still be Monferrat, but we'd have a brother in Saluzzo, and we would have to attack all over again to maintain that. We need to get off Gavelkind. We need to change the law. So we need to go to realm laws. We need to go to inheritance, and we need to see what we need to change off of this horrible Gavelkind. Ideally to elective monarchy, and it says no vassal can have a negative opinion of you. So we have a vassal who does not like us right now. We need to fix that. I'll do it temporarily is what I'll do. Sorry, we need to go to vassals. A lot of them don't like us very much. Aren't even better than the people we have on our council. That's the question. Since these are powerful vassals, they'll probably want to be on the council. This guy is better than our current marshal, so despite the fact that we like our nephew, I think it's more important that we have the marshal be a baron. And we'll get him to train troops in Saluzzo, because since we fired the old one, we need to hire and assign the new one. Who else did we pick up from that? So he is pleased. He's no longer upset with us, even though he's on the council. What about you, sir? You're the bishop. You would make a good steward. He's our current steward. My son is the current steward. I think to get the law taken care of relatively quick, I want to appoint... Well, I can't. That's unfortunate. I am going to swap out our current court chaplain with this guy, though, because this guy is a powerful vassal, technically, and he would be better off if he was on the council. And that means we have... who else? We have just one guy who's not content with us. It's this mayor, and he is a problem, isn't he? Could try and kill him. I'm against doing that. I don't want to do that. I'm going to bribe him if I can. Okay, so we need to save up for 33 ducats so we can send him a bribe so he'll like us slightly better. Or stick him in a position on the council. I'm gonna appoint him to... I can't appoint him to that. And that's our timer, but Let's see if I can fix this first. Alright, well that'll have to wait until next episode, but first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and change to elective monarchy, so we can vote the way we want, so we don't lose any land when we die, which could happen any day now because we are 61 years old, and that is... I feel the cold chill of the Reaper on my back, and I'm slightly worried that everything could blow up in our face. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you next time.